Check actually. Okay. Yeah. I have to check to make sure that's right. I also have to adjust these settings beforehand. Good. Let's continue. It's a very quiet afternoon as always. Hello, Diana. Since I can't go outside of myself, I have to match schedules with Mion when I go shopping. I like 5's OST. It definitely is a change in the music. You can hear it. Hope your day was well. I've gotten used to it by now, so it's no longer a hassle. I'm good. I did more of nothing today. Except I woke up a bit earlier, so I'm trying to fix my sleep schedule a tiny bit. I've gotten used to it by now, so it's no longer a hassle. Because of this, I naturally have to buy things in bulk. Hey, Surplus! How are you? Hello, Rissa! Watch a bit today sounds good. Today I shuttle between shops and my home. That means something happens today. Hope everyone's doing well.
あ、そうだ。今日って100円セールの日じゃなかったっけ?
Rissa says she wants me in here because she misses me bullying you. Was she here? When you, like, did peak bullying? I don't think so. Hi, Poop Butt. Is that my nickname now? I'm Poop Butt?
忘れてた忘れてた.
Being in a good mood, I spun around with my arms spread out. I can't remember what happened today. It has nothing to do with Higurashi while I'm here today. Okay. Being in a good mood, I spun around with my arms spread out. I felt like a little whirlwind. I don't care. My arm hit a motorcycle parked on the sidewalk. It obviously wasn't where it was supposed to be. Hello, Hamburger.
もう、何こんなとこに止めてるの誰?
Here, sounds good. I gave it a kick with no hesitation. There were 3 motorcycles lined up there in a row. Why is Hammy purple? Because Hamburger and Couch have very similar length names, and they both end with like a double number and a 3. So I kept mistaking them for each other. They all felt like dominoes. It was a beautiful sign. This is fun, I thought. Being in such a good mood made me leave my guard down. I didn't realize that the owners of the motorcycles were right nearby. They looked pretty scary. Freaking loser! That's a bit harsh, don't you think? They grabbed me by the neck and dragged me into a dark alley. And they called me all kinds of names. Everything was happening too quickly for me to grasp what was going on. Wait, this is the same people that harassed Keiichi. You got your streak there, Hamburger. D&D character name. Whoa. They can't really talk properly. Wow, Shion's racist. I didn't have a clue what they were saying. That's so crazy, Shion. What are you doing? I had to translate their alien tongue into normal human words in order to understand. Shion? Yo, Shion, I think, would get canceled on Twitter. Like, she would get, like, the second I think she opened her mouth, or, like, wrote anything, I think she would get canceled. Immediately. We were very upset because you knocked down our motorcycles. You should immediately pay for the repair and compensation. Yeah, that was probably it. That's our offer. What did you say? We'd be happy to listen to your opinion. Something like that? Wait, you're gonna pay for what you did? Fucking bash your head in.
あー、ごめんなさい。さすがにそろそろ翻訳不能かも。
あ？だとぐら！
I know what they're trying to say, but somebody has to warn them about the way they park their motorcycles. It wouldn't be fair to those who obey the rules if there are no punishment for those who disobey them. This is an accident, but it must also be God's will. Shion, what are you saying? But God, you can't use it. What's racist going on? I had to translate their alien tongue into normal human words in order to understand. But God, you can use me to punish these guys, but how will you compensate me later? I heaved a huge sigh. Of course, I wasn't afraid in this situation at all, because it wasn't a dangerous one for me. These three guys were yelling at the top of their lungs at a girl. They didn't look good doing it, and they had too many disadvantages. First, there was the differences in gender and the number of people. Even if I did something wrong... Okay, but how is that race-based rather than... Because... It could be the area that they're from, that they have a different dialect, right? Like, because in Japan, you have different ways of speaking. Like, you have the ways, like, in the city, you have the more traditional way of speaking, but as you get further and further into the countryside, you have the more, you have the different dialects. So, it's her... I don't think it's delinquent speak. I think it's her just talking about their dialect. Added to that, there were three of them. It already looked like it was going to get violent. Second, the location. Taking a girl into a dark, narrow alleyway is already a bad idea. And to top it all off, they're asking for money, not just an apology. Thanks to these facts, the public will be on my side. So this was a fight they couldn't possibly win. But you don't know that? True. But you also don't know that it's delinquent speak. You just know that it's a delinquent speaking. Delphituno, you're the racist one here. How? I understood every single thing that they were saying. Hey, Ruben. Shion was the one saying that she had trouble understanding. The only way for them to win would be to take my money before someone finds out. Because you can read it. Okay. And I could still understand what's being said. In terms of, like, it, you know, if Shion could read it, how do you know that she would or would not be able to understand? Considering that, taking me to this narrow, secluded alleyway, she might have been a smart move, since fewer people will find out about this situation. You make no sense. You're just not trying to make sense. Yeah, but how do you know that's not a comment on her talking about the dialect? I knew how slim their chances of winning were. From the very beginning, they had picked the wrong girl. I'm Mion Sonozaki now. It'd be foolish to mug her in Okinomiya. Soon enough, the people of Hinamizawa would notice me and gather around. They don't spare mercy for their enemies, no matter what. The punks didn't know this area well. If they did, they'd have known how silly it was to rob Mion. Plus, the alleyway isn't always as empty as they assumed. The side street is a shortcut with local people frequently use on their way home. In the late afternoon, many people will be passing through here. That time had almost arrived. You're actually dumb sometimes. Listen, if people... Okay, let's translate this to the real world. If there were people who said hood speak was alien speak and you're trying to talk and you're trying to decipher it, some people would take that as racist. If I head off a little longer, the street would soon be filled with people. Then the punks would have to go away. I didn't have anything. I just had to wait in order to win. This was a simple fight like that. While they could hurl abusive language at me or lift me up by my collar, they weren't actually going to resort to violence. Cheers to the educational system for ingraining the ladies first mindset. But as a wicked person, I wanted to toy with them a bit, even if I could win this by waiting. I wanted to paint them as even more villainous. People who take that as racist would be stupid. Well, there are people out there, so I'm just saying, what I said still stands. That Shion could be cancelled on Twitter for it. I wanted to paint them as even more villainous. And drive them into a corner that would be even harder to talk their way out of. No, it doesn't. Yes, it does. That demonic desire was rearing its horns. To put it plainly, I'd only need to act as the poor, helpless victim a little further. Like the pathetic, pitiful, tragic heroine everyone wants to sympathize with. You could get cancelled on Twitter for eating a sandwich. Yeah, you could. But what I also said wasn't wrong. In any case like this, I shouldn't start crying immediately. I forgot, what did Shion say? Let's see if it has it here. I had to translate their alien tongue into normal human words in order to understand. You're so autistic! How am I? In what way do I exhibit autistic qualities? In a case like this, I shouldn't start crying immediately because I'd get nervous and draw back. If I were in a truly threatening situation, that would work, but I needed something different here. I pretend to be strong at first, in fact. Why don't I challenge them? And eventually I'd start trembling, my voice would fade, and I'd get tears in my eyes. It'd be even better if I played the role of a strong girl who's slowly giving into fear. You're saying Tuno is like Keiichi. Oh, true, Surplus! What do you think? Hello, Roach! How are you? Mion and I are probably the only ones who are capable of pulling that kind of stuff off. Keiichi's schizophrenic, not autistic. I thought there was literally a theory that Keiichi is autistic. Weren't you saying that, Ruben? And like, it made a lot of sense to me when you said the theory at the time. Do you remember me? I do not. Unfortunately, I do not remember you. I was trying to look back. Oh crap! I'm scrolling. I hate how when you scroll, it scrolls here. I was looking back in my follow list, but I couldn't find you. I do not remember you. I'm sorry. You don't? No, I'm sorry. Why don't subscribe to that theory? Subscribe to the Delphin Tuno autism theory. Why can't they be the same thing? Remember in the last stream I was in? I mentioned something. I do not remember. I'm so sorry, I do not remember. Hello, Chunky. I talk back with a little hesitation. Oh, okay. Why don't you let me... I already apologize. I'll talk back with a little hesitation. Am I getting tears yet? Read profile info? How do I check profile info? Give me a second. I have to open up my Twitch on my thing. Harry, oh my gosh. I see. Hello. Why'd you change your name to Roach? Of course, your true name. By the way, I heard men can't shed tears on command. Where'd you hear that, Shion? Last stream, they said, what if I changed my name to Roach one day? I do not remember that. Just because I was bored, I see. That. Check their messages. Okay. You should fake cry? Wah! There. That's me fake crying. Wow. 3 punks faltered a bit due to my sudden change in attitude. They started yelling at me again. Shion saying fake tears on command is a woman thing. I don't know, I guess so. So sad, I know, right? I'm sure you guys thought I was really crying, but don't worry, I was just faking. I had to keep it going. The way that what did I say? Shion would get canceled on Twitter. Like, imagine saying that. You would get canceled on Twitter for saying that. The way they blatantly look like they're picking on a helpless girl.
もう許してください。
Saw a leprechaun? Where did you see the leprechaun?
なんだよこら。さっきまでの伊勢はどこ行ったんだよ、にゃろ。
そんなの
It was my ginger brother. Oh, okay.
そんな。
Sounds like surplus.
なら調子くれてんじゃねえんだよ、たくよ。
It looked like they were laying off a bit. Did I overdo it a little? It'd be boring if they let me go now. At that moment. Who is the- Oh wait, that's Satoshi! I guess it would make sense he has yellow hair, but I wasn't expecting it.
もう泣いているじゃないか。やめてやれ。
A boy around my age appeared. He was skinny. He looked weak. He looked younger than he probably was. He also looked smart. He bravely glared at the punks.
なんだ。
What's this game called? It's called Higurashi When They Cry. It is a horror, mystery, visual novel. I think those are the two main genres, right? Horror, mystery?
なこの野郎。足んねえことしてった邪魔するな。
The punks turned away from me to face the boy instead. Psychological horror mystery visual novel. There you go. The boy looked a bit agitated when the punks started yelling at him. They sure were ruthless, but the boy must have known that from the beginning. We're about like halfway through the series. So there are 8 chapters. Each chapter is one visual novel worth of stuff. So we're about like halfway through. Because we're at chapter 5 right now.
黙ってたらわからんがな。返事せんか返事。
What are you laughing about, Chunky? You must have wanted to shout back at them. Gotta go just stopping by tonight because I'm pretty busy and need some sleep. Sounds good, Roach. Thanks for stopping by. Have a good rest of your night and enjoy your sleep. But he probably never used that kind of language in his life. You're almost halfway there. Hello, Indie Man. Goodbye, Roach. What is your master plan, Chunky? So he couldn't express his feelings out loud. He might have not even known what to say. So he just kept on glaring at them. Let them know that he wasn't going anywhere. The 3 punks, though, might have thought he was just lost for words in his fear. But I knew different. The boy was overpowering them with nothing but his will. The punks were losing. So they resorted to violence. They grabbed him and knocked him down. They hit him, kicked, and tossed him around. It looked painful, but I knew it was his victory. Summon a powerful spirit. What spirit? Also, we just watched Satoshi get beaten up. That's crazy. Wait, how sad is that? He goes home, he gets yelled at, because at this point I don't think it's that much physical abuse, right? Or maybe it is, by his aunt and uncle, and then now he goes out and then gets beaten up by people. Satoshi could not catch a break. What's this song here, Chunky? Hey, Tepe. What is this? Oh, guys, careful. Okay. Wow. Thank you for that, Chunky. That was great. I'll kill Tepe with my own 2 hands. But we tried that and it failed. Alcohol? I summoned the most powerful of spirits. Wow, alcohol. What a powerful spirit. In the end, local passerby stopped the punks. They made no further fuss and just went away. The boy stood up. He was covered in dust. He smiled when our eyes met and asked me if I was alright. He didn't look particularly okay himself, though.
あんたもよくもまあ勝てない喧嘩を買う人ですね。次からは勝てる算段がついてから喧嘩を買うことを深くお勧めしますけどね。
最初は迷ったよ。
Thank you for the THX, Chunky. He laughed, saying that he was watching from the beginning. Yes, Dianea. That meant he had the opinion to walk away. I finally have something I can send you. What do you mean? But instead he worked up the courage and stepped in.
そういうのは勇気って言わず、身の程知らずとも言うかな。
ミオンは口が減らないね。
Also summon your siblings, wine, and beer. Huh. What else? What other spirits do you have, Indie Man? These seem like very interesting spirits. I will kill Del Futuro with my own two hands. Why? What did I do? You know, I guarantee you, because I'm such a cute, lovable slime, that if your family saw you burying the body surplus, they wouldn't help you. I guarantee. Sake, rum, okay.
助けてくれてありがとうくらい言ってくれよ。泣いてたじゃないか。
I don't think it's a spirit, Indie Man.
別に泣いてなんかいません。
I was not.
あれはちょっとした演技で。
I've told my family what you've done, and what have I done?
いいよ、演技でも。
Please heed my warning. Oh, okay. Headphones warning for what I'm gonna link. Okay. No, that is their first and last name. Oh, okay. The Spider-Man. Listen, they probably agree that it's not that important. How to find it's been sitting in my phone for months. For months? And you just, what is it? You just realized to send it to me?
信じてないでしょう。私が本当に泣き出すと思いますか？
They don't agree. Yeah, that's just wrong. That's just wrong.
天下ごめんの園崎ミオンが不良にいじめられて泣き出したなんて誰も思わないよ。
何を笑ってるんですか？全然信じてないでしょう。私が半泣きなんてするわけない。
信じるから信じるから。
I realized one thing. You must be one of my sister's friends. You didn't seem to realize I'm her twin. You thought I was Mion with a different hairstyle. Mion and I had to live separately since before we went to elementary school. What is that, Dianea? Why? You summoned me? I am here. Hello, Chunky. The spirit of regret. Why is the spirit of regret Chunky? All I knew is, why me? Why am I the spirit of regret? Okay, what is this? Dude, okay. Okay. Dude. The same reaction. Couldn't send you because you didn't want. Oh, okay. The same reaction? I don't know if he's the best character in the entire series at this point. I think it's hard to say, but yeah. Because I regret summoning you. Oh. Okay, well that's not the spirit of regret then. Okay? That's you regretting summoning me. I don't think that's the same correlation. And I was in Okinomiya. I lived in a totally different environment from her. So it's not strange that people don't know me. Yup, your reaction reminded me. Really? Wait, how did I react? Wait, I actually clip it? I want to know how I reacted, because I genuinely don't remember. I don't remember having that crazy of a reaction for it. What did you put here, Chunky? Yes, it is you must regret to summon regret. Oh, okay, okay. Oh, here we have Chung Woo again. Are you in this video again, Chunky? Not that crazy, just the initial confusing of, oh, okay, okay. Dude, why are his arms and legs so small as well? Like, there's so much about this model that's just like... Flashbacks to when I first joined the stream, yep. Star and friend. Dude, I have a... Yeah, I think I've shown you guys. I have a friend who has that exact same, like, model as well in Roblox. What do you need to see? The other, was it the pink cube guy? He seems very, his reactions are crazy. He has, I see what you were talking about, that he, like, stims. You can see your avatar. This one here? Just wait a little from here. Oh, okay. Oh, really? I didn't even realize I did. Okay, once you realize, I see. Okay, sounds good, Surplus. Thanks for stopping by. You can see behind that one girl. Oh, this is you! Yeah, I forgot about that. If it is, remember, Surplus, before you say anything, remember, if you don't have anything nice to say, then maybe you shouldn't say it at all. Okay? You should remember that before you have something to tell me. So it's not strange that people don't know me. Actually, only very few people know I exist. I almost told him that I'm not Mion, but I managed to stop myself. Shion shouldn't be here. He's from Hinamizawa. Surplus, you should totally insult me because I deserve it. Ignore what I just said. Incorrect. No. Not true. Fake news. Where's the fun in being nice? There's a lot of fun in being nice. You just said it. Yeah, but I was actually crossing my fingers, so like I didn't agree. Wouldn't be good if he thought he saw a Mion look-alike in Okinomiya. So I had to act like Mion. Proof! Look at my hands! They're like moving. See, that's like close to crossing them. I just want to say I'm sorry I have bits of any street. Oh, Surplus, okay. Now, okay. Why do you have to just throw this out randomly? Like, okay. It's always nice to see you in chat as well, Surplus. Thank you. I hope you're enjoying your time. You know, I know you're busy. So it's no worries. You know, I have no plans to stop streaming. The streams will always be here. So you can always come back whenever. Goodbye, Surplus. You have a thing. What thing? Dealing with him could be more difficult than handling those punks.
でもま、ミオンにも少しは女の子らしいところがあったんで安心したよ。
Wait, Keiichi said the exact same thing that Satoshi did. You got a raise at your job. Nice. Congrats. Your manager was happy with you? Which job though? Because you said you have two, right? Which job?
なんだか妙に引っかかる言い方ですけど、つまりはどういう意味？
ミオンのことだから、なんだか珍妙な憲法でも使って、瞬く間に撃退してしまうんじゃないかって期待してたね。
Your zoo job, cool. That's great.
だから泣き出した時は正直驚いた。
I wonder if this is the same thing that happened with Mion and with Keiichi and Mion and Shion as well, where maybe Mion liked Satoshi initially, but then like there was this exact same thing where Satoshi mistook Mion for Shion and then started liking Shion for Mion, and they started liking this other side more, and then he eventually found out they're a different character, like they're different people entirely, and then like I wonder if that's maybe why Mion hates Shion, because it would have been, when Keiichi arrives, it would have been the second person potentially that Keiichi would have been stealing, like from Mion, or at least that's how she sees it. Chapter 1. And now I got a lot of cash, like 359 euros per 2 weeks. Nice! You plan to do anything with those more euros or no? What is that? Why? Why are we bonking Mion? End of chapter 1. Oh, okay. That's how chapter 1 ends normally? Do you, how come you got the raise? Did you do anything in specific, or did you ask for a raise, or how'd or did your managers decide, yeah, you could have a raise? They got honked, bonked. Yeah. What did Mion do to deserve it? It's not like she was, I guess, no, she was one of the main antagonists, I guess, of chapter 1, so it makes sense.
だからあれは泣き真似だったって言ってるじゃないですか。さっきから人の話ちゃんと聞いて。
He gently put his hand on top of my head and stroked it as if stroking a kitten. I could remember somebody doing that to me when I was little, but it had been quite a while since somebody stroked my head. I didn't know what to do. Why did it make me so embarrassed? My face reddened all at once. I couldn't say anything.
バカにしてます？ひょっとして。
I was on time the past weeks, and I didn't almost drown in the sea lion show. Did that happen? Somebody almost drowned in the sea lion show? I stuttered in embarrassment. He looked calm as if he was used to doing this. Well, he was with Satoko.
なんでもいいよ。よかったじゃないか。
よかったって何がです？
無事で。
He smiled while he kept stroking my head. His smile looked divine. Wasn't gonna stay for long. He'd already saved me from those guys after all.
じゃあ、僕は行かなきゃならないから、そろそろ行くね。
あ、うん。
I wanted to go through all the steps of meeting someone for the first time, but he didn't. As far as he was concerned, he saved a friend from danger and wanted to leave quickly to avoid seeming pretentious. He and Mion must be... Heon! I created a new one! He and Mion must be friends who knew each other well. Wait, swap to OG art. What does OG art look like? What? Satoshi looks very feminine in the OG art. Yeah. So I couldn't bring myself to ask, what's your name? Mion's friend smiled once again. His smile looked refreshing, as clear as a blue sky. This time he smiled a bit mischievously.
安心しなよ。ミオンが泣いてたなんて誰にも言わないから。
What about manga gamer? What do you mean rude? How's that rude? He looks like he's wearing clothes too big for him. But I actually don't mind the manga gamer out there. Oh, you almost did. Oh, okay. You almost said my manager does not want to get sued, so I got a raise. Oh, how did that happen? If you do not mind explaining the story of how you almost drowned. Instead, he does the protecting.
天下無双の委員長が泣いてたなんて絶対誰も信じない。
He patted the dust off his butt once again. Sea Lion tackled me to stay on top of me. Oh, damn, like, under the water? Or, like, did it pull you under the water? Damn. Hope you're okay. Underwater, damn. Was it, like, did it do it maliciously, or was it trying to play with you? He walked back to the sunny main road, away from the dark alley. Then he turned around.
じゃあまた明日学校でね。
Play, I see, okay.
うん。学校で。
He disappeared into the brightly lit street. I continued to sit in the gloomy alleyways. I had a fish in my pocket. Oh, okay, I see. I could no longer see him. Was just staring absent-mindedly at the bright light. Well, I'm glad you're okay, Chunky. That you are here to, you know, here for another day. Yeah. I was just staring absent-mindedly at the bright light. This was the first time I met Satoshi-kun. I'm not even allowed to walk freely under the sun. I met a boy on a sunny day. How come a perverse girl like me fell in love with his innocence? Notebook, page 5. What do you mean a perverse girl like me? What are you talking about, Shion? You don't know how traumatized I now am. I mean, yeah, if it's like, you know, you almost drowned, you know, like, I've always believed that drowning is one of the, like, is probably the scariest deaths. I've always believed that. Like, just not being able to, like, slowly your body is losing oxygen. Or not losing oxygen, but you're gonna be forced to take a breath, right? And just, you know, when you breathe in, you'll be taking in water. You now have to boat tour. How did you do tours before? Oh no, okay, because you were usually the reptile exhibit, but now you're doing boat tours? Damn, I'm sorry to hear that. Or is it like, is it different? Like, is this better? To be fair, in that moment, Satoshi probably could be called the image of innocence. That's fair. But because he stepped in to save her and everything. Okay. That must be Satoshi. Okay. You have both, okay.
サトシくんって言うんだ。
The boy from earlier is called Satoshi Hojo-kun. Mion said he's always daydreaming. But she didn't believe me. She didn't believe that he saved me at
普段
first.
はしっかり者の妹にいろいろと尻を叩かれてるな。
妹がいるんだ。
うん。妹は貞子って言ってね。なかなか面白いやつだよ。なかなか悪知恵が働くしね。そのくせ追い詰められると泣くし。
Wait, so I wonder if Mion's going to... You have... Well, I hope, you know, both go well. So, have they decided to just put you with the boat tours now, or what? Boat tours so I could do my corny jokes. Did you know the fish don't drown because they do some fishy business? Wow. What a great joke. Thank you very much, Chunky. You know, that's like enough to rival the cat jokes, to be honest. But she's quick to cry when she's cornered. Yeah, I mean, that is Satoko. That is pretty accurate. And what I was saying before, with this guy, Satoshi. I can't remember. I forgot. Okay, they're nice. I guess, like, being a tour guide, you do need to have your corny jokes on hand. Oh, yeah, what I was saying. So I wonder if she puts together that Hojo, the last name, are the same people that fell off the bridge that one time. The sister came up naturally in the conversation. I tried to soak up every scrap of information about Satoshi-kun. Why? Why am I trying to ask so much about him? As I asked myself that, the feeling I got when he stroked my head came back to me. I must have been blushing.
もしもし、シオン？
ごめん。聞いてる。
そもそもね、サトコがおばと折り合いが悪いらしいんだよね。サトシは大人だから、その辺はうまく立ち回ってるんだけどさ、サトコは嫌なことがあると素直に表情に出しちゃうからね。
What Sis told me was very interesting. She told me that the parents of Satoshi-kun and his little sister are dead. Satoshi-kun and Satoko are now living with their uncle and aunt. They don't seem like very respectable people. Sus. They're always fighting and the uncle is cheating on the aunt. He mostly lives with his mistress. Satoshi-kun and Satoko entered into that unwelcome environment. What surprises me most is the fact that Satoshi-kun's parents were the Hojo couple who were the leaders of the pro-dam activists. Fact must have added something to the situation. I don't know what kind of stance the uncle and aunt took during the dam conflict, but they must have taken some indirect blows. What did you call? Satoshi-kun's parents died after bothering them so much, and even left them their children. Their uncle and aunt obviously can't love those kids. Things have gotten worse this past year too. Women can really be nasty bullies. Sometimes it doesn't matter who they're bullying, even if it's a kid. On top of that, women tend to care less about propriety than men. What exactly is that, propriety? Behavior that conforms to accepted social, moral, or professional standards and etiquette. Okay. Is that true? That doesn't feel true to me, but... Sure. Hello, Gubby! I can imagine Satoshi-kun bravely protecting his little sister. Wait, what's sus? Your English is sus? Just like when he saved me.
なら、
Well,
サトシ
that's
君
a
も
thing.
普段は
That's a
疲れ
it's
て
a
る
good
ってことにな
icebreaker.
るのかな。
Hope your day was good, Gubby.
サトコがおばにいじめられるたびに、きっとサトシ君は妹をかばってると思う。妹が疲れるのと同じくらい、サトシ君も疲れてると思うのは、
I
私の
guess
考えすぎ。
I started thinking about this more. Women tend to care less about propriety than men, but I'm thinking about it. I guess like maybe certain, like maybe I just don't fall into that category. But then I think about like frats and like the hazing rituals and all that stuff, and it's like, you know what? Maybe this is true. Women tend to care about less about propriety than men. That makes sense then, if you're looking at it from that aspect. Sorry, I'm late. You don't need to apologize for being late, Gubby. You can arrive at any time. There's no being late to the stream. You can arrive. Anytime you arrive is a good time. I'm just happy you're here. You call a fish with no eyes of wow. Another classic, amazing joke. But I'm glad you feel the need to say you're sorry for being late, but you don't need to, is what I'm trying to say.
どうだろうね。
Had I said something wrong? Mion sounded a bit taken aback. Mion can't tell how he's feeling, because he's always wearing that blank look, so she never considered it. How can she be that insensitive even though she's always around him all the time? It's too tired. Wow, Chunky, really, like, just complete knee slapper after knee slapper here. I was amazed to
まあ
realize that.
そんな話はいいや。で、彼は普段はどんなことをしてるの？文系みたいだから読書とか好きなわけ？
あ、想像に漏れずに普段は読書して過ごしてるよ。最近読んでる本はね、なんて言ったかな。
And she's asking all about Satoshi. I continued asking about him, about what he likes, dislikes, and what he thinks about. I asked Sis all these questions because I wanted to know more about him. It was the first time I'd ever been that interested in somebody. I didn't want to admit that I had feelings like that. Did I fall in love just because of a stroke on the head? Am I stupid? Or what? When I remember the feeling of his hand on my head, my heart feels tingly. I tried doing it myself, but it didn't feel the same. I'm so stupid. What am I doing stroking my own head?
おねえ、私もうダメだ。バカになっちゃった。
何を突然、気色悪い声で笑い出して。
おねえにはわかるまい。この。
When would I see him again? I felt as if my suffocating life had finally grown brighter. That was a nice meeting. I bought a booklet with a pen last week. I now have 98 jokes in it. Wow. I don't know about that, Shion. Just wait a year. True. Oh, ow. No. I dropped my... whatever. It's Chunky Artist. Now, Chunky 2... A lot of numbers fell down a well. Yeah, so what did the numbers signify before? How was your stream, by the way, Gubby? I didn't ask. I hope it went well. The life I lived was really beginning to suffocate me. I couldn't go out freely, and I'd always had to make arrangements with Mion before going to work. I thought my life would improve after escaping from that school, but in reality, it wasn't that easy. You had to pick only one music artist to listen to for the rest of your life. Who would you pick? Huh. That's a great question. Because you have to pick Michael Jackson. I feel like you'd want to pick an artist that has... It's still going by the one of the streamers I watched came and watched me. Nice, Gubby. Congrats. Hope you're enjoying your stream then. I'll pick Dia Barha. You would just have one song you need to listen to the rest of your life. It's not healthy to live like this for too long. Because you want to pick an artist that encompasses multiple genres, because you want to not have the same genre. listen to again and again. Dia Barha. It's the song that Dianea just plays sometimes randomly. Like, it's that artist. Without any friends to hang out with. I felt like I was hibernating. I started to feel the dangers of falling into boredom. All I could think of now was Satoshi Hojo-kun's face. I'd only met him briefly. My encounter with him had a great impact on my life. I actually put super glue in my eye instead of contact lens solution, and I had to go to the emergency room. I've heard that's actually a pretty common thing that happens. Like, it's not a... Like, I've heard that super glue and contact lens solution look very, very similar, and it is a common thing that people do. Or, like, not common, obviously, but it's like... It's not a rare thing to happen. Which is wild to think about. But, yeah. I said that to my teacher last week. And what did your teacher say? I felt something exciting was going to happen. Really, I was hyped up like a little kid. The more I thought about it, I realized I've been thinking about him a lot lately. This might be a crush. I felt a little ridiculous idolizing him in such a romantic way, though. Then out of the blue, I got a chance to see him again.
Are?
I saw a familiar face at twilight in the park. He was sitting on the swing. He looked like he was zoning out, or maybe deep in thought. He didn't notice me, even though I was right in front of him. I reminded myself to speak and act like Mion before talking to him.
Hey! 何やってんのこんなとこでさ。
ミオンか。びっくりしたな。
そんなに驚いてるようには見えないけどね。さっきからいたんだけど、ずっと気づかなかった？
そうなのかい？ごめん、気づかなかったよ。
He smiled self-derisively and shrugged. He looked depressed, like something was troubling him.
何か悩み事でも？聞いて楽になるものなら聞くし、力になれるものなら惜しまないけど。
いや、別に。
I have a really chill teacher. If you miss stuff when you're sick, you just get an A+ on the assignments you miss. Nice! That's good then.
私はサトシ君には一個借りがあるからね。それとも何？おじさんじゃ力になれないと思ってるわけ？
Wow, she's really talking exactly like Mion.
見くびられたもんだな。
別に。ミオンの力を借りたら。
ほう。それは何？つまり、私ごとき女の手は借りたくないってこと？
Thinking him unfair, I puffed up my cheeks in a sulky gesture. Satoshi-kun noticed that and smiled.
違うんだよ、ミオン。僕に実力がなくて、ここ一番で打てなかったってだけのことなんだよ。
What's your song here, Gubby? I mentally rifled through all the information about Satoshi-kun that Sis had given me. He doesn't look much of an athlete, but apparently Satoshi-kun belongs to a junior baseball team. I was late to stream, but it was totally worth it for the coffee and muffin. I mean, yeah, that sounds great. You get the coffee and muffin, that sounds really good. They're called the Hinamizawa Fighters. I doubt he's very skilled, since I don't hear much about his contributions to the team. Maybe that's why he doesn't tell many people that he's a member. Given how down he felt as a result of messing up, though, he must be fairly dedicated. I deduced all that from what Sis told me, and carefully chose my words so as to sound like her.
なんだ、そんなことで落ち込んでるわけ？
そんなことでって簡単に言ってくれるな、ミオンは。
I pat his back while chuckling. Satoshi-kun would probably call me insensitive. I knew I should listen to him rather than trying to cheer him up. Acting like Sis was probably the wrong thing to do in this case, but I had no choice. This was just how she'd react in this situation.
それなら落ち込むんじゃなくて、なお一層練習に打ち込んで次のチャンスを目指すのが適当ってもんでしょうが。こういう時は練習しかないよ、練習。まあ、サトシ君に相手のピッチャーに小細工をしてまで勝ちたいという執念があるなら、おじさんいろいろと協力できるかもしれませんけどね。
Why does he almost look like you?
ずるしても何の意味もないよ。
I mean, he does, I will say he does look more similar to an actual, to like a person. Yellow equals Tuno for real. You know, if you change my outfit a bit, and then when I'm blinking, you pause, and squint your eyes, you can see some similarities. Satoshi-kun hung his head after letting his regrets out with a big sigh. Surrender, defeat, resignation. We're all visible in that gesture of his.
諦めがいいのか未練たらたらなのか。やっぱり男に生まれたからには、一度くらいは晴れ舞台でスターになってみたいでしょう。
Satoshi-kun grinned and said, yeah.
もちろん、ヒーローを目指すのが花だけど。それが目的で野球をやってるわけじゃないよ。純粋にボールを投げたり、打ったりするのが楽しいからやってるんだよ。ミオンでも、そういうのわかるよね。
おじさんはそういうのはあんまわかんないかな。私は結果が一番であるなら、どんな種目でも大好きだし。一番になれないのに大好きなんてものはあんまりよくわかんないね。ははははは。
ミオンらしい答えだな。
Having realized that I'm trying to make him feel better, he laughed along. He doesn't look depressed anymore. I guess he was just feeling down because of the game. He wasn't as depressed as I thought. Maybe I just jumped to conclusions when I saw him sitting alone in the park.
でも、ミオンは一番になるために、いろいろと努力をするからね。
Wait, can I I glanced at the police and jaw off the cliff singing Freebird? What do you mean, Chunky?
それは偉いと思うよ。
He smiled gently and stood up. Then he started stroking my head. All of a sudden, I totally wasn't prepared for that. I thought this when he did this last time, but how can he stroke somebody's head so easily? I felt like I'd turned into a little kid. Memories from kindergarten came to mind. My face must have been red. I felt embarrassed, but also like I was in heaven. Satoshi-kun stroked me as though petting a cat. I don't understand this head stroking thing. They always, like, do this in like, I mean, especially in, like, anime, I feel they talk about this, like, head stroking thing, like, it's the most intimate thing, but, like, I feel like if somebody started petting my head or something, it would feel very strange, you know? Like, that doesn't feel like the thing that is, you know, I don't know, you're like, it just feels like a weird thing to do. Like, even to a friend or something, like, you wouldn't just start petting their head, no? Is that just me? Y'all know what FNAF and Poppy's Playtime is? Yeah, I know what they are. I haven't, like, I mean, I know more about FNAF than Poppy's Playtime, but I don't know any of the deep lore for any of them, but I know general gameplay for them. In the game, they do that, like, I turn off the light and turn into an eldritch horror. What, like, in this game, or which game are you talking about? You hate both? Why do you hate both? Indie Man seems, like, how do you say, like, activated on the mention of Poppy's Playtime. I felt helpless, like a girl being treated by the dentist with her mouth open and her eyes shut. Satoshi-kun didn't seem to notice my feelings at all. He didn't seem to care. I hate him. With my eyes still closed, I waited for him to finish. He suddenly withdrew his hand.
じゃあ、僕は
How's
そ
it
ろそろ
evening
帰
time
るよ。
now?
おばさんに野球の帰りに買い物をしてくるよう頼まれてるから。
My voice faltered. I was so embarrassed.
買い物なら、私も行くとこ。夕飯の買い物。
I hate Poppy's Playtime and FNAF. Yeah, I mean, yeah, I guess if you just don't like something, you don't like it.
ミオも買い物するんだ。お手伝いさんが全部やってくれるって言ってなかったっけ？
Shoot, I messed up. In the main Sonozaki house, the maids do everything. Therefore, Mion hardly goes grocery shopping, and she's bragged to some people about that. Should have known better. Still, it wouldn't be too hard to find an
街に
excuse.
遊びに来るつもりでいたから、買い物を私が引き受けてきたわけよ。お分かり？
Yeah, let's what your video is here, Gubby. Okay, I'll just watch the first minute, right? Since you put the 1 minute max. Any of the characters, Indie Duel's non-research fight series, to indie characters, whether from video games or animated shows. Here, let's play from the actual, like, thing here. In this game, they go, I put a Pokeball in my pocket and hurl it to Alphatino and catch him. Sure, if you want to do that, sure, Chunky. What is this? The Mimic versus the Prototype. This is cool, though. But this is really cool, the animation. Then how do you determine the winner? Yeah, that's what I'm wondering. Like, how is, like, just vibes, I guess. Okay, this is a pretty cool fight, though. Okay, I will stop here, though, since I think it's been about the minute. It's very interesting, though. Well, one has enough revival goo to infinitely heal. Yeah, what do you guys think would win, then? Nope, not watching this. Why are you not watching it?
ミオンにしては珍しいね。普段はそういうのめんどくさいって言って嫌がりそうなのに。
Prototype? That's the revival goo to infinitely heal? Yeah, I mean, I don't know what either character does either.
そういうのを余計なお世話って言います。頭撫でないで
Satoshi-kun seemed to be having fun with how embarrassed I'd get when he petted me. Anyhow, I managed to talk my way out of it. He didn't seem to really care about the details. Mimic Wan. Oh, okay. While walking with Satoshi-kun in the shopping district of Kami-Ishiki, it suddenly occurred to me. Why had I messed up? I'd known Mion would never go grocery shopping. What an amateurish mistake. Did I make that mistake when I was pretending to be Mion? No. I was probably speaking as Shion. I couldn't keep lying to myself. I had to just admit it. It was simply because I wanted to spend as much time with Satoshi-kun as possible. It was easy to see why I was so attracted to him. I found something intriguing in my boring life, and I didn't have to feel tense because he thought I was somebody else. Etc., etc. His easygoing nature made him fun to be around, and his habit of petting people on the head was fun too. Huge mode is a better buff than Super Saiyan. The only thing is, Rena could only use melee form, right? In cute mode. Super Saiyan has the, like, blast. Only one because he hid inside a prototype so he wouldn't burn, and apparently he can resist high temperature. I could tell I was embracing the feeling of love. I was just casually enjoying that feeling. It wasn't that I fell in love with him. I was just having fun. I could simply spend some fun time with Satoshi-kun without having to think too much.
ブロッコリーってどれだっけ?
There's no way you're this clueless. This is like, I guess no, they're in the same family. Like, what is this?
緑だっけ? 黄色だっけ?
サトシ君、そっちはカリフラワー。サトシ君ってひょっとしてキャベツとレタスの区別がつかないタイプ？
それはひどいよ。これでも精一杯区別してるつもり。
Satoshi-kun stared at the heaps of broccoli and cauliflower. After thinking for a while, he reached out for the wrong
それ違
one.
う。サトシ君の買い物は見ててハラハラしますね。見てるこっちは楽しいけどさ。
参ったな。サトコと一緒の時にも迷うんだよ。
Never mind, I'm realizing I'm becoming one of those people. What exactly is one of those people, Indie Man? I've heard a lot about those people. I feel like Dyna has explained to me a lot about those people that Indie Man is referencing.
ブロッコリーとカリフラワーはどっちが何色だっけってね。
あんたら兄弟二人揃って面白すぎです。
Sis had told me that Satoshi was a flaky big brother to his nagging little sister. I hadn't met Satoko, but she must be having a tough time dealing with Satoshi-kun. He stumbles over everything he buys after all.
それは調理塩。胡椒とか混じってますから、卓上塩とは異なります。
そうなの？ほら、 確か理科の実験で塩と
What do you
胡
mean? I
椒を
think I
分
saw
離す
salt
るの
and
を
pepper
確か
separate in a science experiment. What are you
言
talking
い
about?
訳はいいから棚に戻す。こっちが普通のお塩ね。で、次は
Fair enough, I'm tired. It makes sense.
ミオンがいてくれると買い物が楽で助かるよ。
サトシ君、頭良さそうに見えて社会生活に支障
He
ありすぎ
does
です。
seem not very. He could be one of those people that it's like not very. That like he probably is smart in like academics and stuff like that, but like, you know, just existing in the normal world, he might not be the smartest. Welcome back, Chunky.
もう少しお勉強した方がいいと思います。
それはひ
So
どいな。
Keiichi. Yeah, sounds about right. Him, like Keiichi have so many similarities.
これかな。ひゅいひゅい。
だからそれは違う。
What did he do?
何でもカゴに放り込む前に値段と何人分かをよく確認する。
My first impression of Satoshi-kun was that he was strong and reliable. But the more I spoke to him... What's your question, Gubby? So far, Satoshi isn't as loud as Keiichi. Well, we have to get to the yelling. Where Keiichi's like... Where Satoshi's like... "Ah! Ah!" Right, that's what we need to, like, wait for. The more I spoke to him, the more I was surprised how clumsy and unreliable he was. So how do I put it? It was hard to leave him alone. He was dangerous on his own. If he wasn't careful, he might start wondering, do you cross the street when the light is red? Or was it green? And get himself run over by a dump truck. Sweat drop. Why do you put a sweat drop?
1780円になります。スタンプカードはお持ちですか？
はい、あります。あれ、どこかな。
すみません。ちょっと見当たらないんで今度でいいです。
I finished checking out, ignoring Satoshi-kun as he fished through his wallet full of receipts.
ひどいな、ミオン。
Is broccoli green or yellow? What if it was like multicolored? What if it was like green with like white stuff, like white spots on it? You know, what about that one? Satoshi's the guy I want to protect. Kishi's the guy you want to protect from. Yeah. What biome do you like? It's a buy for each person I watch. I actually like watching. What biome? What? So you're talking about biomes in Minecraft, or what exactly are you talking about when you say biomes? Like, what are you thinking of? It was very thoughtful of you. Thank you very much, though, Gubby. A maybe. I like that, Chunky. Slime Rancher. Decoration. What biome do I like the most in Slime Rancher? I like... I'm trying to think. Which area did I like the most in Slime Rancher? That's an interesting... I like the jungle the most. Okay. Alright, I'll wait for the ads.
スタンプちゃんと押さない
Keiichi
と
has the... I know, I hate his laugh so much. That's what I mean. I think Keiichi has the worst... I've been saying this since the beginning, that Keiichi's laugh is so annoying. Slime Rancher 2 next stream. No, I probably am gonna wait a bit before doing Slime Rancher 2. But I do want to do Slime Rancher 2 at some point.
あんた、夕暮れ時のお買い物ラッシュの時にのんびりと財布を漁ってスタンプカードなんか探さない。後ろに大勢待ってるんだから。私たちの後ろで海線山線のおばさま方が早くしなさいざますって目でギロギロ睨んでたの気づいてなかったんですか？あのね、そういう時はレジ前に並んでる時からあらかじめ用意しておくの。
Ton. Why does it say ton here?
そうか。いいことを聞いたよ。
ちなみにここでのことだけじゃないですからね。
Oh yeah, okay, I was saying that I don't plan to do Slime Rancher too soon, but I do plan to do it at some point. You know, later down the line.
バスに乗る時もそう。サトシ君、バスを降りようとして料金を入れる時、その時になって初めてお財布を開けて 小銭をちまちまと探して後ろの人を詰まらせて待たせてるでしょう。
みんな僕を追い抜いて
Dude,
勝
what
手に
is
料金を入
Satoshi
れてるか
doing?
な。
Alright, Azagon. I think Moss Blanket was my favorite. That was the area I liked the most in terms of the biome. But in terms of the yeah, those are the places I like the most.
はあ。それはね、すっごーく周りに迷惑をかけているのです。そういうのはあらかじめ用意しておくのがマナー。わかりました？
わかったよ。今日のミオンは
I
怖い
mean, no, I
な。
think this is important to set up their like relationship of how they were like, because we didn't really know anything about them beforehand with Satoshi and Shion. Satoshi-kun smiled as if patronizing me. Couldn't believe it. He was definitely the type who made women want to protect him. Sure, he was fine as he was when he had a busybody like me around him, but I couldn't stop worrying whether he was able to function in society without somebody like that nearby. We got plastic bags and sorted out what we brought. Satoshi-kun put a pack of tofu at the bottom of the bag. I slapped his hand and put a milk carton instead. Yeah, I mean, okay, like this is crazy.
はい、これで OK。これで台所で買い物袋を広げてお母さんに仰天されなくて済みますからね。
ありがとう。
Mm.
助かったよ。
But she said mother, but it
僕
doesn't
はどうも買い物が苦手
doesn't
でさ
have。a mother, Shinyon. He doesn't have a mother.
買い物だけ？正直におっしゃい。
Yeah, thank you, Gubby.
うん。
嘘嘘冗談。
I realized a few things while spending time with him today. He's not just bad at shopping, he's also chronically clumsy. In general, you could call him a slow thinker. That meant when he stepped into the quarrel with the punks, he must have needed a lot of courage. He might have been a simpleton, but he's not stupid. He's aware of his weakness. So he must have been aware of the danger in that situation. He could have chosen to walk away even though I was in trouble. But he chose to be a man and stepped in. That was really admirable of him.
えらいえらい。サトシ君は頑張ったよ。いい子いい子。
なんだよ。急に人の頭を撫でないでくれよ。
サトシ君が一人でお買い物ができましたでしょう。なでなでなで。
ミオン、僕のことすっごいバカにしてるだろ。
してないしてないよ。お家一人で帰れるかな？道わかる？
やっぱりバカにしてる。
Satoshi-kun's sulky face flushed red. Ah, he's just too cute. At that point, I caught a glimpse of a billboard from the corner of my eye. Piano lessons, call that. Abacus class, junior baseball team, members wanted. It was a posting for the team Satoshi-kun belonged to. It showed the day, time, and place of their next practice. By then, I knew just how flaky he was. I figured he must be the same when playing baseball. Satoshi-kun realized I was reading the posting. He looked uncomfortable and
今
walked away.
サトシ君は思った。頼むからミオン、野球やってるとこまで来ないでくれよ。図星？そのムーってのはつまり何さ？図星ってことでしょ？
Satoshi became quiet after mumbling something. It seemed like he couldn't say anything back since I'd been right on the money. Satoshi-kun, you're just too cute. I don't think going silent is a good way to dodge the issue. Well, that might have just been the way innocent people like him would react in a situation like that.
じゃあね、サト
Why
シ
are you
君。
jumping off a cliff, Chunky?
暗くなりかけてるから気をつけて帰ってね。
ミオンは一緒に帰らないのかい？ひなみ沢。
私はもうちょっと寄るとこありますんで。気にしないで先に帰ってくだ
Yeah,
さい。
it does sound like he's moaning, doesn't he?
僕の買い物を手伝ってもらったんだから、今度は僕が手伝う。
あははは大丈夫大丈夫。っていうか、サトシ君が何を手伝うおつもりで？人の手伝いする前に自分が手伝われなくて買い物できるようになっといてくださいな。
今日のミオンは、ひときわ意地悪かな。
He seemed to have some pride, at least. He looked a bit upset because he was teased by a girl. In contrast, I felt very satisfied. As a result, I forgot to keep my guard up.
あ、でも、手伝ってくれてありがとうね。本当に助かったから。
Dude, what is... While wearing a bright smile, Satoshi-kun started stroking my head. Again. I know he's teasing me, but I can't reject him. He keeps doing it only because he realized I won't resist.
じゃあね、ミオン。暗くならないうちに用事を済ませてね。
Arrest? Why are we arresting him now?
また明日、学校でね。
In fact, I wouldn't see him tomorrow at all. It felt awkward, but I had to settle for that. I had to thank Sis for letting me use her name. After I separated from him, I found myself giddy and wishing to see him again as soon as possible. I wanted to know more about him. I couldn't wait for my next chance to see him. Actually, maybe there was something I could do. Like when I obtained my freedom from St. Lucius, I could choose how to live my life. Whatever, it wasn't that complicated. I just wanted to tease him more. I already knew the schedule for his baseball team. Nice. We're just getting more of Shion's and Satoshi's relationship. A crumpled diary. This one's crumpled. So last time it was just the beginning of the diary. Then it became a smudge, and now it's crumpled. Did you see my invention on Discord? I did not see your invention on Discord yet. What's your invention on Discord? Let me see what your invention is on Discord. Oh, yeah, in your basement? I did see that. Yes, the blender apple. I did see that. I wanted to reply to it, but I forgot I didn't reply to it. It was funny. Just I don't know what you invented there, but it is an invention. Satoshi wears a maid outfit in the non-canon material, so I could see that being the case. He feels like the type that would. My aunt finally stopped her hysterical screaming. Today was just like any other day. I can't remember what set her off. Whatever it was, she changed subjects constantly anyway. It doesn't matter. She went on past midnight again. The urge to sleep was pounding the back of my head. Once Satoko had been able to relax, she fell down on the spot and started sleeping, still clinging to my sleeve. I carried Satoko to the bedroom and laid out our futons.
ほら、サトコ。布団が敷けたよ。
No, it's canon material.
布団に入りな。
Satoko crawled in like a worm. She stopped moving when she was inside. I wished I could go to bed too, but I couldn't. My aunt asked me to do some chores. I have to get toothpaste after school tomorrow. I had to write it down somewhere. I had to make rice for lunch tomorrow. I set the timer. Right, I had to also repile the towels in the bathroom. That was the reason for today's scolding. My aunt will get mad if everything isn't done the way she wants. Oh, and there was something else. I was working at the grocery store the next day. They wanted me to bring an apron. Do we even have an apron in this house? I've never seen one. My aunt will be sleeping when I go to school, so I won't have time to ask her. What should I do since Mion helped me get that job? I don't want to screw it up. In that case, why don't I ask Mion about it at school? She might lend me one. Was there anything else? Why are you going insane, Chunky? As I'm envious of Satsuko because she got to go to bed. It was pathetic I felt that way. Damn. Why is tiny person being held in a hand and being shook around? What did she do wrong? What is this? Okay, yeah, we'll call it classic. Guy, like, slams in there, and then this person's gonna, like, bump into the camera. Yep, there it is. Or the glass. I don't know what this guy was thinking. Why was that, like, why is that a thing? I mean, hey, you know what? He's strong enough to punch the wood. Ow? Tuno cross-dresses too. How do I cross-dress? And yeah. I don't know why so many pans just like flip off like that. And break. What is this guy doing? Okay. And then we have, I don't know what's in my recommended here. People be, yeah, some people really just are. Some people also do cringe compilations that people build tolerance for. Exactly 1 minute, yeah. Pretty close.
こんにちは。今日もお暑いのにご精が出ますことで。
お、ミオンさんじゃないですか。
Oh, here's Idiot. My battery's getting low, so be time to go. My screen is cracked and I can't see. Listening to my little rhymes, it makes you somebody out there which cannot be seen by Tuon. Well, if your battery's getting low, I hope it doesn't run out of charge if you need it while at work. If you're at work right now.
こんにちは。
I'm glad you're doing 5. Yeah, no. Nice to be doing 5 as well. Oh, that's Subaru? Damn! Honestly, he looks like the most mature one there. Hmm.
あれ？それは差し入れですか？ありがたいな。さすがは我がチームのマネージャー。
まあ気が向いたからです。別に監督に差し入れたくて買ってきたわけじゃないので。
Yeah, she just brought it for
あと
Satoshi.
さりげなく人を勝手にマネージャーに組み込まないように。
Attached charger, no good. Nice. Also, this guy
ミオンがマネー
is
ジャーだっ
going
た
to
ら
be the
いろい
weirdest
ろ
guy that you
強
guys
いと
are
思
gonna
うけ
see.
どね。やって
That's
よ
only because
ミオ
he's.
ン。
But even still, just the way he looks, like he looks very mature and not like like childlike. I don't know. Ignore him. Ignore the guy on the right
マ
here.
ネージャー。
Yeah. Satoshi-kun smiled at me in a carefree manner. I didn't want him to become their manager. I didn't want to become their manager. It'd be tiresome. I've been coming every week though, so I'm a quasi-manager already.
まあ本当に気が向いたらその時はやりますんで。でどうです？
Why do you need to ask about... Shion, you're really just making this obvious.
サトシ君の打率はどんな感じです？
My charging sound is a mode. My boss at the karaoke bar just side-eyed me. Why is that your... How do you even do that? Your charging sound being that?
ええ、頑張ってますよ。彼の打率ですか？セブンスマートでおせんべいの袋をどれでも3つ買うとですね。
それってつまり3割ってことですか？へえ、サトシ君って結構な高打率打者じゃないの。
What is a good batting percentage to have?
打率は数字じゃないよミオン。ここ一番で打てなきゃ意味はないんだからさ。
サトシ君は自分で自分の弱点をよく分かっているようですね。そこまで分かっているなら、
Supposedly still gonna make an
あとは
affection,
練
and
習
maybe
ある
doesn't
のみ
even
で
know
す
it's
よ。
Subaru. She legit thinks it's a different person. I see. Is it a canon thing in the anime itself or no? Yuria signaled to the pitcher who threw the ball. It hasn't shown up in the anime, but it's definitely canon content. Oh, okay. Satoshi-kun looked calm, following the ball with his eyes, then he swung. Whack. The ball flew in between the first and second bases and landed in the distance.
おー、やったー。パチパチパチパチパチ。
I clapped and Satoshi-kun blushed in response. He repositioned his helmet to hide his face.
フリーバッティングや試合が平坦な時はかなり落ち着いたいいバッティングを見せてくれるんですけどね。
I hit the ball once that whole season? Oh, you did Little League! I didn't realize you did Little League before it was garbage. Okay. I never did any sports or anything like that. I was usually... I think I said this before, but I was at the point in... Like, you know, when in high school, in, like, in PE and gym and all that stuff, right? I was always above average, but if I were to do the tryouts with the people who were actually good, I was one of the worst at everything. So I just never tried out for anything because I never did like I was never like actually good at anything. And then like people were always like, oh, you should try out for this, you should try out for this, because it's like I'm good in like gym and PE, but it's like I know for a fact I'm just not good enough to make an actual team, so I just didn't bother. Irie smiled compassionately. It seemed that Satoshi-kun couldn't really perform well when it counted. While he was usually good when everybody expected him to perform, he couldn't. I didn't think it was because of nervousness, he just couldn't do it. I think it's a perfect fit for Satoshi-kun's character. He seems calm at first glance, but he's actually slow.
スコアボードとかそういう数字上ではかなりの高アベレージヒッターなのにね。
You were Mean Green, the co-ed kickball team. What do you mean Mean Green? Is that the name of the team?
本番に弱いってのは致命的かも。そんなことだから、こないだの浮田ジャガーとの試合でもここ一番で凡退するんですよ。
That we came with. And how did it? Yeah, how was it? How did you do? You see this back on Earth? Apparently, when he was a child, he could be mistaken as a girl. Even when he like, I mean, because I don't know anything about his like life back on Earth. All I know is that he was shopping in a supermarket and then he just got isekai'd. I was one of the better players on the team. Okay.
うるさいな。
Yeah, cross-dressing was a hobby of his back on Earth. I see. Okay.
あそこで打てればかなり美味しい見せ場だったんですけどね。残念です。
A hit could have put the offense into the lead, or at least given them an extension. That was when Satoshi-kun came up to bat. Irie wanted him to live up to everybody's expectations, but statistically that wasn't likely to happen. Yet Irie insisted on giving him a chance, in spite of the fact that all the team members had suggested a pinch hitter.
あーもう、あそこで打てれば完璧なのにな。どうしてダメなんですか？どうしてああいう時に打てないんですか？
仕方ないよ。僕がああいう時弱いの本当だし、僕だって代打を出してくれた方が試合に勝てるかなって思ったし。
試合に勝つかじゃなくて、サトシ君が勝つかどうかが問題なんです。ああもう、なんで当の本人にここまで闘争心がないのかな。普通は逆でしょ。代打に変えられそうなところを、ここは俺に打たせてくださいって食ってかかるとこでしょ。自分から代打を出してほしいなんて言い出すなんて、ああもう、なんでここまで闘争心がないのかな。
I mean, no, I feel you. It's just very... I think it's very... How do you say? How do you... Like... stressful to be in that situation. To know that the entire team's counting on you. If you fail, you let down the team. You know? I can understand just wanting to give that up.
それは私も普段から言ってるんですけどね。まあその辺がサトシ君のいいところではあるんですが。
普段は紳士でも試合には鬼になる。男にはそういう二面性があっても私はいいと思います。とにかくサトシ君には鬼がない。
Dianea, you're up.
仮にもひなみ沢の人間なんだから、たまにはご先祖の鬼の血を思い出してくださいよね。
You are up. You're up. Okay? It's you. You need to let the demon out. Look here. You need to let your demon out. When you're in kickball. I think the cross-dressing punishments of Keiichi are a bit funny because he's always man's man, so it knocks him down a peg a bit. It's only funny because it works like that. I don't think it would be... Tell that to 11-year-old me.
って聞いてます？サトシくん？
聞いてるよ。
And he moans
よく
again.
わかんないけど、その。
わかんないけどってサトシくんの話をしてるんですよ。それを
Oh. Okay, and then Satoshi-kun started stroking my head. He looked delighted for some reason. A blush immediately spread across my face. I don't know, what is this like comedy routine?
ミオンは僕のためを思って言ってくれてるんだよね。ありがとう。僕は頑張る。
Is this just Satoshi's theme? I can't remember when this like the or did you guys play it? Yeah, I think you guys sent the song in. Like this song, but it was like the more, I guess, hype version is the best way to describe it.
サトシくん、そういうことしてごまかさないでください。
ごまかしてなんかないよ。
Because I don't think I heard it yet in actual Higurashi.
嬉しいだけだよ。
Yeah, this first started in 5, okay. Yeah, the version I requested was a different rendition. Okay. I couldn't resist his hand. I couldn't help mumbling like he does. Satoshi-kun ran back to the field, leaving me red as a beet.
頭撫でられるの弱いんですか？
撫でる人によります。監督が撫でてきたら関節決めますんで、覚悟の方よろ。
もうずるいな。じゃあ全員集合。今日は出席もいいことですから。
Beat him up, Shion. It was what he
紅白戦をやっ
deserves.
てみましょう。
Oh, yeah, this guy's dead right now. Hinamizawa fighters are sort of a lazy team. The members gather simply to enjoy playing baseball, not to fight for victory. The Okinomiya Titans use this field too, but they practice on different day of the week. They also train hard using dumbbells and stuff. Teams split into 2 groups and started a match, returning their loose atmosphere.
じゃあ、私は記録でもやるかな。監督、どっかに鉛筆ないです
A
か？
pencil? How are you keeping track of the score on a notepad?
いつもすみませんね。はい、これ。お
Check the
願いしま
pencil
す
and
ね。
the clipboard. I didn't know how to differentiate between recording hits and errors at first, but now I was used to it.
頑張ってサトシくん。あんまり応援するとまた打てなくなっちゃいますね。ほどほどに頑張れ。
I don't know why she wants to make it so obvious. Like, obviously she likes him and whatever, but like, it doesn't feel like she's trying to hide it at all at this point.
それはそれでひどいな。
Like, I'm sorry, you show up, right? You're just like, oh, I brought refreshments, but it's not for anyone else. It's only for Satoshi. And it's like, oh, Satoshi goes and pats the head of Shion. You know, and then it's like, good luck, Satoshi! She's quite young. I think it's hard to do in that age. I still feel... Maybe, I guess it's hard to say. It's not like I had any experience, so I can't really comment on it, so... Yeah. But what is... She's like... I guess, no, at this point, she's like, what? 14? Maybe even... Yeah, because this is 1 year, so I think she's probably around 14. It's like... End of middle school... 9th grade time. I don't know. I still think you definitely understand at that point, but I don't know. It's my interpretation. I don't think she's trying to be subtle. But I feel like I agree. I would agree with you, but she's doing it in Mion's like, and because she did say it as well, right? That she's like, oh, she can be herself because she's in Mion's body, but I feel like that just makes things really difficult for Mion. But maybe she doesn't care, and maybe that's why Mion gets angry with Shion. You know, that's maybe part of the reason that Mion gets angry with Shion, because she gives her name and allows her to use her name, and then Shion is like just going around like acting like it doesn't really matter, and she can do it however she wants, and because there's no repercussions or anything, or she doesn't feel the repercussions, that's why she feels like she could go do whatever. And in that case, I can understand why she'd get mad, but I don't know. Huge white clouds appeared in the sky that made me feel healthy. Humans are born to be active under the sun. One of the parents was acting as an umpire today. So Irie sat on the bench with me. He shouted words of encouragement to the kids while they ran to their positions. Ahem, Tuno? What do you mean, ahem? Did I do something? Did I miss something? You let the kids have their fun while watching over them. It's touching my carpet, similar to touching grass. Why did you just suddenly bring this up? Other baseball players might look a little naive.
それでも、あの程度の練習量でみんなこれだけの動きができるんだから驚きですよね。
ひなみ沢の子はみんな普段から元気に遊び回ってますからね。
Humans are meant to be... Why are you bringing this up? Like, what? Why are you bringing this up randomly?
運動量は街のことは比べ物にならないんですよ。
Listen, touching carpet is like touching grass, but it doesn't... You don't get like dirt or everything anywhere, you know?
変なフォームで固めてしまうより遊び感覚の方が伸びるんです。
おお、見事に沖宮タイタンズとは正反対の考え方ですね。あちらの監督と対立するの、わかる気がします。
タイタンズさんの考えも間違ってませんよ。試合は勝つためにするものですからね。勝利至上主義は決して間違いじゃないです。
Yeah, but I feel like that's like if you're in the highest play, but here, it's like, you know, it's little league, basically.
みんなで団結して共通の目標を目指すのはとても素敵なことだと思いますからね。まあうちはその目標がたまたま勝利じゃないってだけのことです。
The Hinamizawa Fighters and the Okinomiya Titans have been rivals for a long time. Both teams share the same baseball field, for one thing. And originally there was only one team, but the people living in Hinamizawa left and made their own. Anyhow, we were rivals. The Okinomiya Titans were strictly about winning, and the Hinamizawa Fighters were just about having fun. Surprisingly, our scores weren't that different, which meant our team had something they didn't. Even though I couldn't put it into words, I knew what made that happen.
ほら、赤組さんも頑張ってください。2点差なんかひっくり返せちゃいますよ。白組も油断なくしっかり。
Okay, you see, like these are the things I feel like she should be doing, you know? Still, some parents would criticize our coach for being too lenient. But still, others would strongly agree with him. Which side would I take? The latter? But I couldn't really say for sure. The reason for this was that Ide had an obnoxious habit of sexual harassment. Oh yeah! Such an obnoxious habit of sexual harassment. It's a really annoying habit to have. Ugh. Don't you just hate it when the guy sexually harasses someone? Ugh. It's really the worst. In particular, he had a fascination with maids. But I should talk about that some other time. Satoshi-kun let the ball pass twice to see its trajectory, then hit it on the third pitch and ran to first base.
サトシ君打った落ち着いてればさすがですよね。
最初はちょっと素振りしただけですぐバテてたんですけどね。それを思えば本当に上達したものです。
サトシ君って文系って感じの人ですよね。よくその彼が野球をやろうなんて思ったものですね。
All the other kids who joined the baseball team loved baseball. They go out to play in the fields outside of practice. That's why they all had an aptitude for it. But Sis never said that Satoshi-kun's exercises intensively in school or anywhere else. He only likes to read. That's why I didn't quite understand why he started playing for the team to begin with.
それはですね、私がサトシ君をこのチームに誘ったからなんです。
へえ、監督が自らスカウトしたんですか？サトシ君に何かすごい素質があるのを見抜いて？
あ、すみません。麦茶を一杯もらってもいいですか？
Barley tea. It feels like a hot day, no? Why would you be drinking barley tea now? He did ask for tea in a suspicious manner. While he constantly joked around, I knew he was actually a very mature person. I assumed he was trying to evade my
何
question.
か訳ありなんですか？
He did pretend he didn't hear me, but I pressed him on it. In response, he shrugged and began answering the question.
園崎さんなら、あるいは想像がつくんじゃないかと。
What would Mion Sonozaki guess? Quickly searched the data I had on Satoshi-kun. I came up with Satoshi's family circumstances. He lost his parents in an accident a year ago. Since then, he's been having a tough time at his uncle's home.
じゃあ監督は、サトシ君の鬱憤とか、そういうのを解消させてあげようと思って、このチームに。
スポーツはいいですよ。程よく体を動かして汗をかくことはストレスの発散になります。また熱中することによってわずかな間でも家庭のことを忘れられるならそれは十分な気分転換になりますしね。
Yeah, the fact that we're now like, you know, seeing Satoshi, he's definitely not the person to just run away from home, you know?
ほら、サトシ君ってぼんやりしてるというか、のほほんとしてるというか、そういうところあるじゃないですか。やっぱり、相当ストレスあるんですか？
I knew Satoshi-kun must be suffering even though he didn't look like it, but Mion Sonozaki never pays attention to things like that, and I had to act like she does.
おじさんに引き取られて少ししてからサトシ君がだいぶ体調を崩しましてね。いろんな症状を訴えるんですが、いくら調べても原因がはっきりしないんですよ。
Clinical symptoms. Satoshi-kun often got sick after he was taken into his uncle's custody. He suffered from fatigue and migraines. He suffered from a lack of energy and sleeplessness. The coach, Dr. Irie, soon realized Satoshi-kun was suffering from a psychological disorder. Most of the people in Hinamizawa knew how bad Satoshi-kun's environment was. It was natural for him to become sick because he entered that bad environment right after his parents' deaths.
サトシ君は感情の爆発ができないタイプなんですよ。
Yeah. Like, you know, they are sisters, but I do feel that Shion can be very harsh at times, as we saw as well from the beginning chapters.
泣いたりとか怒ったりとか、そういう感情が人一倍苦手なんです。
確かに、サトシ君が泣いたりとか怒ったりってのは、あまり想像つかないですね。
サトシ君のお母さんが再婚を重ねてるのはご存知で？
まあ、少しは。
Satoshi-kun's mother had married a number of men over the years. That meant Satoshi-kun had several stepfathers. He had to deal with strangers coming into his home multiple times, so he was forced to be mature.
サトシ君は精神的に早熟なんです。本人は自覚していないでしょうがね。泣いたり笑ったり、ダダをこねたり。そういう時代をあっという間に卒業させられて大人になっちゃったんです。
監督の言い方だと、大人ってのが必ずしもいいようには聞こえないですね。
子供は子供らしく過ごすことで成長していくようにできているんです。それを無理に大人にしたら、やっぱりいいことはないですよ。
Not only was Satoko's current relationship with her aunt conspicuously terrible, I heard that her relationships with her previous stepfathers weren't good either. Satoko always caused problems, and Satoshi would always step in to protect her.
だから、サトシ君の体に変調が出たのは、そういうことに体が耐えかねた SOS じゃないかって思ったんです。
That's why Irie invited Satoshi-kun onto the baseball team. He told Satoshi that he needed a new member, or something like that.
はじめは渋ってましたけどね。彼と診療の際に、いろいろとお話しするうちに、少しずつ打ち解けていきましてね。ちょっと見学だけにでも来てみるといい。ちょっとバットを持ってみるといい。なんて感じで、少しずつ誘っていったんですよ。
Sports worked excellently for Satoshi-kun. His health quickly improved and he started to become interested in baseball. He practiced batting, he was soon able to swing beautifully, and he learned how to see the trajectory of the ball.
なんかわかるな。サトシ君ってコツコツタイプですからね。How to Baseball なんて本をしおり挟みながら読んでる風景が想像できます。
それであれよあれよという間に3割打者なんです。本当によく頑張りました。これでピンチの時にも打てれば完璧なんですけどね。
サトシ君と監督って仲いいんですか？
悪くはないと思ってますよ。悩みとかそういうのを打ち明けてくれたということは 私を信頼してくれたからだと思ってます。
I felt a bit jealous of how confidently Irie said that. While Satoshi-kun and I were friends, we weren't so close that we'd open up to each other like that.
あれ？嫉妬してます？
何に？
Taken aback, I blushed. Irie started laughing at me.
園崎さんもサトシ君の相談相手になってあげてください。
まあ、なれるならなれたらいいかななんて。で、
I didn't know what I was saying.
サトシ君ですね。最近また少し体調を崩してるみたいなんです。
え？
Dude, why did suddenly... What? Why? What is that sudden jump in tone? The ball flew to the left. But the left fielder managed to catch it. It seemed that the relationship between Satoko and her aunt had gotten worse lately. It was obvious his sickness had something to do with that.
おばさんがかなり大人げないいじめ方をしているらしいんです。サトコちゃん、本当にかわいそうなくらいにボロボロになって。何しろ聞いた話では。
で、それをかばうサトシ君もボロボロになっているということですね。
I wasn't interested in Satoko, so I switched the subject back to Satoshi-kun.
で、それをかばうサトシ君もボロボロになっている
Like, I didn't care. Like, look at this. She's so just like... She only cares about... I don't know. Didn't know much about Satoko. I knew that she was a big part of Satoshi's life, but I'd never been interested in her until today. She must have been building up self-esteem and taking care of her unreliable brother. That was all I knew about her. But considering Satoshi-kun's personality, even that goofiness of his might be an act. Maybe he was trying to make her feel good about herself by letting her take care of him, if only unconsciously. When he's alone, he's surprisingly strong. I realized that only recently, so I couldn't help but think that his whole life is constantly affected by Satoko. Satoshi-kun managed to get along with his stepfathers even though he experienced some stress. He was even getting along with his aunt, but in order to protect Satoko, he always had to step in and suffer. I didn't really know anything about Satoko, but I had to admit I felt hostile towards her. I felt jealous because she was monopolizing him.
最近、サトコちゃんへのおばさんのいじめがだいぶエスカレートしてるみたいです。サトシ君の体調不良もそれに比例しているんでしょうね。
Irie heaved a sigh. As he said, Satoshi-kun had been absent a few times lately. He seemed a bit tired too. He looked normal when around everyone else, but he looked a bit depressed when he was alone.
監督はストレスに押しつぶされそうなサトシ君を救うため野球に誘ったんですよね。
ええ、そのつもりでした。
こうして野球をやっている今、またストレスに押しつぶされそうになっているサトシ君に今度は何を誘えばいいんですか？
どうすればいいんでしょうね。
Irie smiled powerlessly. I couldn't help feeling a bit disappointed about that because Satoshi-kun put his trust in him.
内緒にしてくださいよ。実はですね、サトシ君、チームを抜けたいって、そう漏らすんですよ。
どうして？
疲れるから、だそうです。というのは表向き。サトコちゃんと一緒にいる時間を増やしてあげるためじゃないかと思ってます。サトシ君は野球をしている間、サトコちゃんがおばさんにいじめられているかもしれない。その時、サトコちゃんのそばにいられないことが兄として辛いと、そう思っているのかもしれません。
I was left speechless for a while. Satoko, again. Satoko. Why did Satoshi have to sacrifice so much for her? Just by ignoring her, his stress would melt away. Of course I knew he couldn't do that. If that were the case, then the blame lay with his little sister. I knew how badly she's been treated. It only happened because she made things worse for herself. It was her fault she couldn't establish a decent relationship with their aunt. If Satoko were more mature like Satoshi-kun, her home life wouldn't have gotten so bad. Satoshi-kun wouldn't have to suffer all those indirect blows. In the meantime, the baseball team's practice match had become one-sided. It wasn't even worth watching anymore. Members of the losing team were just goofing off. The sky had turned cloudy too. It was depressing. It didn't look like it'd rain soon, though. The gray sky hadn't brought along any cool air. It just felt disgusting. Irie became quiet. He was looking down at his feet. I, meanwhile, just stared at Satoshi-kun. To me, he didn't look active anymore. He was once able to enjoy playing baseball, and he felt fine. But he got sick again, just because the relationship between Satoko and her aunt had deteriorated. I couldn't help but say it.
サトシ君をどうこうするってより、サトコをどうこうする方が先決では。
It was just a murmur, but Irie had definitely caught it.
それは、どういう意味ですか園崎さん。
別に、難しい話じゃないです。サトコがしっかりしてくれれば、サトシ君に迷惑をかけることもない。サトコがそもそもの原因であるってことが言いたいだけです。
うん。そんなことは。
でしょ？だって、サトコがトラブルから、サトシ君はそのトラブルに介入して矢面に立たなければならないんでしょ？
Like Keiichi was annoying, and he was dumb. Shion is just wrong. She's not dumb or annoying. She's just wrong.
で、その結果、
Like, a
本当
lot
は
of
買わ
times
な
she
くて
like
済んだお
says
ばの喧嘩ま
something,
で買ってるわけでしょ？
and then she's just wrong. Satoshi-kun never got scared of any trouble, no matter how formidable the enemy. He'd bravely stand up, protect the weak. I knew that because I could vividly imagine it. Whenever their aunt chid Satoko, Satoshi-kun steps in to protect her. The aunt probably didn't like it, though Satoshi didn't have to fight the aunt or attack him anyway. The fight would then be between the aunt and him. Satoko might then tease the aunt by sticking out her tongue, hiding behind his back, and pretending to be scared. She'd never think about how deeply he was being hurt. Because of Satoko, Satoshi had become cornered and stressed.
園崎さん。あなたがそんな言い方をする人だったとは。あなたは、さとこちゃんのお友達でしょ？お姉さん的な立場でしょ？普段も学校で、さとこちゃんを慰めたり、励ましたりしてるものだと思ってました。なのに、そんな言い方をするなんて、正直、驚いています。
Irie looked at me suspiciously. I could tell what he was thinking about me. I'd said too much. Mion Sonozaki and Satoko Hojo are friends. They're close, so Mion should have been encouraging her after the situation at home got tougher. That's what Mion's supposed to do. I'd totally forgotten about that and spoken as myself. It's only natural that Irie would give me a suspicious look. He might end up changing his impression of Mion Sonozaki entirely. I'd have to apologize to her about this and ask her to put things right. I totally messed up. And so I didn't think I said anything wrong. I'd objectively looked at this situation and made a modest proposal. To be honest, I was simply afraid that he might leave the team. I couldn't go to school in Hinamizawa, so the baseball field was the only place where I could see him. I could even say that he was my reason for living. That's right, I was in love with him. But I wasn't going to tell him how I felt, or I was satisfied just by being by his side. I certainly couldn't ask for anything more. After all, I couldn't reveal my true identity. I had to pretend to be Mion in order to live in Okinomiya. I thought that maybe I should leave Okinomiya in order to be free. That's stupid! No matter how tough my life might be, I prefer to be here, with Satoshi-kun stroking my head every now and then. Why did I love him that much? I read about it in some manga once. You don't need a reason to be in love. I was surprised at myself for being like this.
私。
I breathed out slowly, then held my breath, trying to slow my throbbing heart. I felt a bit calmer. At that point, a clear thought came into my head. I want to be with Satoshi-kun. So, I want him to stay on the team. So, I want to get rid of his concerns and stress. So what? So, what can I do to achieve all that? My head started to cool down as I heard the umpire shout.
ゲームセット試合終了
Satoko needs to be killed. Some days I see him, and some days I don't. Clear sky gets cloudy, and rain will always stop eventually. I thought his absence was just like that, but he was actually on the verge of breakdown. Notebook, page 19. It's not about Sato, it's about he makes... Yeah. Very selfish person, Shion is. The rainy season was just around the corner, and the air had become so humid that my shirt stuck to my skin. It had been a few weeks since Satoshi-kun stopped showing up for baseball practice. I looked for him as soon as I arrived at the field. He's not here. Did I get here too early? I want to see him playing in the field right when I get here. I started arriving late because of those feelings. However, he wasn't here today either. I didn't even bother hiding my disappointment anymore. Everybody knew by now how I felt. The team members from Mion's class came over to try and console me, but I shooed them away.
園崎さん。気分が優れませんか？
Even Iria couldn't confront me. I was aware that he too knew I was like this.
今日、帰りますね。気分じゃないです。
ほら、今日は沖宮タイタンズさんと打ち合わせをする日じゃないですか。マネージャーの園崎さんにも同席してほしかったんですがね。
私を勝手にマネージャーにしないでください。私、マネージャーだったつもりは、ないんですから。
Iria looked down, not knowing what to say.
わかりました。元気が回復したら、また手伝ってくださいね。
もう来ないかもです。マネージャーが必要なら、私以外を募集してください。
気が向いた時でいいです。また、遊びに来てくださいね。それにほら、あなたがいないと、サトシ君が戻ってきた時、寂しがりますよ。
I ignored him and turned around. I'd already set up my schedule with Mion, so I didn't have to ask her every time anymore. I tried to contact her a couple times to ask how Satoshi-kun was doing in school, but hadn't been able to get through to her. Apparently, the hag sensed that I might be in contact with Sis. In other words, Sis was being watched. As a result, it hadn't been easy to contact her. Kasai, who had been helping me contact her, seemed to have also been marked. People knew he was loyal to me. I hadn't seen him for a while either. All I could do was wonder how Satoshi was doing. I was frustrated because there was no way for me to know. My head was filled with worries. Something surprised me out of the blue. Somebody called out to me when I was about to leave the field on my bike.
Mi-chan, konnichiwa.
I'd never seen this girl before. Luckily, she called me Mi-chan. There's only one person who refers to Mion that way, as far as I know.
レナか。珍しいね。レナがここに来るなんて。
Her name is Reina Ryugu. Her real name is Reina, but she wants to be called Rena. That's what we call her. I wonder why she wants to be called Rena. Reina. She moved here in April. I had some information on her, but it was all ambiguous. Reina is like queen or king or something, right? I feel like we covered that earlier. I had some information on her, but it was all ambiguous. Sis was still a bit uncertain about her since she's so new. It was hard for me to handle someone like that. I didn't know how to act around her as Mion. So I decided to pretend to be in an obvious sulky mood. That way she wouldn't talk to me as much, assuming that Mion was simply feeling bad. Well, that's how I really am anyway.
みーちゃんは帰り？
気分が優れないの。悪いね。
じゃあ一緒に帰ろう。
I wanted to say that I'd rather be alone, but there's only one road to Hinamizawa. So asking to be alone would look odd. The only way to not seem suspicious would be to walk home with her.
そうだね。帰ろうか。
Then I quietly nodded. I unlocked my bike.
みーちゃん、傘は？
持ってないけど。
今日はこの後、天気崩れるかもしれないんだって。傘ないなら急ごう。
As she predicted, we were attacked by pouring rain on our way out. We ended up taking shelter in a small shack in front of a bus
す
stop.
ごい降りだけど、これはそんなに長引きそうじゃないね。
そうだね。
Basu! Holy. I heard the sound of rain pattering on the rooftop and the raindrops jumping into the puddles. It sounded loud, but it made me feel strangely calm. I zoned out for a moment, and then Rena talked to me while looking up at the rainy sky.
最近、元気ないって聞いたから、心配してたんだよ。
All the baseball team members knew I was depressed because I hadn't seen Satoshi-kun recently. Most of them attend the school in Hinamizawa, so it wasn't surprising that she knew as well. I hadn't been able to contact Sis these past few weeks, but I was sure she had an idea of how I feel about Satoshi-kun and how I would feel if he didn't come to his baseball practice. Sis was probably pretending to act a little depressed during her day-to-day in Hinamizawa to avoid creating a big gap between our moods. But neither of us knew the details about the other right now, so she wouldn't be able to answer if the others asked what was wrong. She'd only say, "Leave me alone." That might lead to more people to become worried. Rena must have thought Mian was depressed. That must be why she came all this way to see me. She must have known what was going on because she knew that I was at the baseball field.
サトシ君、構ってくれないから、寂しい？
Having deduced what's been going on with Satoshi-kun from what she just said, he'd been distancing himself from the others lately because of exhaustion. That's what it sounded like, at least.
サトコちゃんの件で、だいぶ悩んでるみたいだった。 サトシ君は、すごく追い詰められてると思う。かわいそうだよ、ね。
サトシ君は、本当に妹思いだからね。偉いよ、本当に。
What I'd said sounded hollow, as I knew too well how much a burden Satoko had become.
でも、だからってみーちゃんまで落ち込んじゃったら、かえってサトシ君を追い詰めちゃうように思うかな。
私に追い詰めるつもりなんて。
それはもちろん知ってるよ。でも、だからこそ、学校にいる時のサトシ君を、笑顔で迎えてあげられなかったら、みーちゃんは、たとえ嘘でも笑顔が作れる強い人間だって知ってる。だから、嘘でも笑ってほしいの。最初はたとえ嘘でもね。笑顔って、最後には本物になるんだよ。
What she was saying in a nutshell was this. Both Satoshi and Satoko were totally wiped out. If Mion was also depressed, even though she's sort of the person who usually lightens the mood, the situation would be stuck in a vicious cycle. Rena sounded more like she was trying to give me advice and trying to console me. She must be more mature than she looks. She is. Sis told me that she was a funny girl with a few bad habits, but she seemed to have another very mature side to her.
みーちゃんは、サトシ君のこと、好き？
好き。
Though I shouldn't have told her that. I immediately responded.
なら、笑おう。
Rena smiled herself.
みーちゃんの笑顔で、きっとサトシ君に元気を分けてあげられると思う。みーちゃんは、それしかできないことに、落胆しかけているかもしれないけれど、それでもね、多分、それが一番サトシ君の力になる。
理屈ではわかるけどね。笑えったって、そう簡単にはできないよ。
Rena giggled and nodded.
野球の練習にもさ、バイトが終わったら、きっと帰ってくるから。
His part-time job? I almost asked that question, but I managed to stop myself. From the tone of Rena's voice, it sounded like it was something everyone
バ
knew.
イトか。いつ終わるんだろうね。
お金が貯まるまでだろうけど、どんなに遅くても、さとこちゃんの誕生日までには終わるよ。
I tried to figure out what was going on from what she said. I had to listen very carefully to uncover the whole picture. Satoshi couldn't seem to be working in order to make some money. I don't think it's easy to find a job when you're still in school. Sis might have had something to do with it. His job only seemed temporary, and seemed to have something to do with Satoko's birthday. It wasn't that difficult to figure it out. Satoshi was working and saving up to buy his little sister something expensive for her birthday. He was trying to comfort her, even though he was so torn up himself. Oh yeah, I think it's 100% Ruben. She's definitely the mother of the group, trying to keep everyone together. But she also goes psycho sometimes and like loses herself. And then when that happens, the group falls apart. Satoko again. Satoshi-kun was already worn out for her. Worn out because of her, and now he was working for her sake, even though he was exhausted. How stupid. It would be easier for him to just forget about Satoko. I was startled when I realized Rodena was looking straight into my eyes. She was smiling, but her eyes looked creepy. I never voiced what I was thinking, but she was looking at me as though she figured out I was blaming Satoko. She beamed when she noticed my fear. She smiled as though she understood that I thought that way because of love. She was giving me the creeps. I could hear thunder roar in the distance. The rain began to
さ
pick
と
up.
こちゃんがサトシ君を独占してることに嫉妬を感じてる？
I avoided answering immediately this time. But Rodena seemed to know what I was thinking already.
別にみーちゃんがそう思っても、私は軽蔑しないよ。人を一途に好きになるときって、そういうものだもん。
ありがとう。
でも、みーちゃんは今までずっと、さとこちゃんを励ましてくれてたよね。それって、私すごく立派なことだ
Yeah,
と思
like,
うな。
I don't know. Rodena literally is a detective. It's so
サトコは
crazy.
仲間だもの。
Or she can read minds, one of the two.
当然でしょ。
That sounded so fake. Like spitting on the floor.
私たちには、さとこちゃんも、さとしくんも、励ますことしかできない。どうやったらこの苦境から救ってあげられるのか、わからない。
サトコがサトシ君にべったりしすぎなんだよ。サトコがもっとしっかりすれば、サトシ君がここまで追い詰められることはない。
はっきり言うね。
Rena nodded with an unflinching smile, even though my remarks could be taken as harsh. What was this mysterious girl thinking? It was difficult to get a read on
サ
her.
トシ君もさ、ほんの少しはそう思っているとこ、あるかもしれないね。
And I kept smiling, but her smile looked strangely
サ
cold.
トシ君も、多分、心のどこかで、サトコちゃんをかばい続けることに疲れを感じてると思う。
Given the type of person Rena is, I don't think she'd say something if she wasn't certain of it. Because of that, she must have been confident in what she just told me.
どうして、そう思う？
私、サトシ君に打ち明けられたから。
What is this music coming in? This was the one from the very beginning, right? I think something like that. Satoshi-kun secretly confessed to her. Rena asked me to keep it that
サ
way.
トシ君がね、兄として頼られることに苦痛を感じる。それはとても罪深いことだと知っているけど。って
I don't
ね。
think he would say something like that. But, however, it wasn't likely that Rena was lying. I just met her, so I didn't know what made me feel that way, but my hunch told me that she was telling the truth. I heaved a huge sigh. Satoshi-kun must have gotten so tired that he couldn't help telling someone. Even so, even if he thought that way, he wouldn't tell somebody so easily. Maybe Rena led him to do so. She might be capable of something like that. I don't understand. This girl. It's only been a little while since we met, but I already started talking about something I was keeping deep inside me. Does she have kind of some supernatural power to reach into people's minds and drag out what they're thinking? It suddenly hit me that I was sitting with this creepy girl in a tiny shack. I'd been dragged into her strange world. I don't think Sis realized Rena's real personality. She thinks Rena's just a funny girl with some strange habits. She would have told me if she knew.
レナは、サトシ君に打ち明けられる
Wow,
く
she
らいに
looks
信
exactly like
頼さ
Mion
れて
in
るんだ
this.
ね。
Like, she looks exactly like Mion in this.
羨ましい。
別に信頼されてるわけじゃない。私が経験者だからだと思う。
経験？レナにも、兄弟をかばったりした経験が？
ひたひたとずっと足音がついてきて。夜は枕元にまで立たれて見下ろされる経験。
Huh? Sorry, Rena. What are you talking about? I turned around to face her, and I got the chills. Though she was smiling, her eyes looked ice cold. I trembled and froze, with my eyes open.
みーちゃんにはないないと思う。多分。
And I kept laughing, self-derisively. I tried to figure out what she was
みー
saying.
ちゃんはひなみ沢から逃げ出そうとか、もっと都会に行きたいなとか、そういうことを考えたことはある？
I didn't know how to respond. Nana waited for my answer, urging me to speak with her
No.
silence.
ないよ。私は地元。
Liar.
だよね。だよね。みーちゃんはそうだと思う。
It didn't seem like a good idea to lie to her. Nana has some kind of power that I can't grasp. She can read people's minds just by seeing the slightest change in their expressions, so I had to tell her the truth.
そうならば、みーちゃんは大丈夫。お社様には怒られない。
お社様？
Oyashiro-sama. That's Hinamizawa's garden deity. I couldn't understand why she mentioned that name. My mind stopped for a moment.
お社様。
She calmly repeated the name as if trying to teach me something. Yeah, I remember. Oyashiro-sama never allows heathens to desecrate Hinamizawa. Oyashiro-sama never allows the villagers to leave either. Those are the rules. Slowly, I recalled the fear of the curse which supposedly caused the dismemberment, murder, and the death of the Hojo couple. When I was sent to the institution, I had this fear. I was scared that if I went to that faraway boarding school, I'd fall under the curse. But I should be okay. I escaped from the school and returned to my hometown, to Okinomiya to be precise. But it should be okay according to the kids' rules, because I love Hinamizawa. The hag forced me to live this suffocating life, but I still chose to stay in this place. I don't believe I'm breaking Oyashiro-sama's rules. Even though the Sonozaki family had selfishly banished me to a remote place, I came back here anyway. Oyashiro-sama you should even bless me for that. I guess I'm trying to convince myself that the curse doesn't apply to me, but I think I'm still afraid of it.
私は地元好きだから、その意味では、お社様のたたりがあるとは思っちゃいないね。 模範的だとすら思ってるけど。
それは私も認める。だからこそ、サトシ君のことはわかんない。
どうして？
サトシ君は、心のどこかで、ひなみ沢を捨てて、どこかへ逃げ出したいと思ってるから。
Huh? I gave an inaudible cry. While I was feeling sad that Satoshi-kun hadn't showed up for practice, he still lived in Hinamizawa. So, I'd never even considered the thought of him going away.
サトシ君が、家出したがってるってこと？
無意識のうちに。お社様が枕元に立つまでは、多分、意識すらしてなかったと思う。
I still had no idea what she was talking about. I continued trying to figure out what she was saying.
サトシ君が体験していることは、すべて、お社様のたたりの前触れなの。
Even thinking that you want to leave. Or like, not even, like, without realizing it, but having the desire, the subconscious desire to leave, you're just breaking the curse. Or like you are a part of the, like you have the curse. So villagers can't enter, so Keiichi, by the time he entered Hinamizawa, since he wasn't allowed, he had the curse. Like, just by entering the village. And the audio got bad again.
誰かがずっとつけてくる。やがて足音は常に自分とずれて一つ余計に聞こえるようになるの。それらは初めのうちはお外でだけだけど、やがて後ろのそれは自分の家の中にまでついてくるようになる。そしてお布団に入って明かりを消してもずっと枕元から見下ろしてるの。ただただ黙って。
I think there were multiple times that Keiichi woke up in the night and thought he saw someone watching him.
自らの罪を認めるまで、サトシ君は夢見が悪いって最初言い出したの。それで、私がどんな夢？と聞いたら、私の時をなぞるようだった。だから私、彼に予告したの。その気配がやがて近づき、足音を聞かせるようになり、常にそれはきっと私の時と同じだから相談してって。サトシ君ははじめ私のことを怪げに思ったと思う。でも私が予告した通りにお社様の気配が近づくのを感じ。
The thing that I'm remembering, I can't remember what chapter it was, but I think it was chapter 1 actually, when he locked the door and he thought that nobody entered, but he said he felt the presence like right behind him or something.
お社様が枕元にまで立つに至って、やっと自分の身に起こってることを相談できるのは私しかいないって気づいたの。
Tenna didn't look like she was joking. She just calmly told me what had been going on. I couldn't even move. I couldn't tell her words were a joke or the truth. I could only feel stunned.
私はね、もともとひなみ沢に住んでいたの。
Yeah, that's what you want. Yeah, exactly.
小学校に上がる直前で茨城に引っ越した。でも新しい環境に馴染めなくてね、心の中のお社様にひなみ沢に帰れ帰れって何度も呼びかけられてた。でも小学生の子が泣きながら元の町に帰りたいって言ったってどうにもならないもんね。私は現実とお社様の声に板挟みにされてずっと過ごすことになる。そして
Lena paused. It looked like she didn't want to go into the details of what followed. In general, she confused me even more.
結局いろいろあって私はひなみ沢に帰ってくることができた。だからお社様にはそれで許してもらえた。
あれ以来、お社様の気配を感じることはないもの。でもね、サトシ君は私と違って、ひなみ沢にいながら、お社様のたたりを受けることになった。それはなぜか。理由は一つ。サトシ君は、ひなみ沢にはいたけれども、ひなみ沢を捨てて、遠くに逃げたがっていたから。その心を、お社様は許さなかったんだね。サトシ君は、自問自答を何度も繰り返した挙句に、ほら、サトシ君、アルバイトをしてるでしょ？サトコちゃんが欲しがったあの大きなぬいぐるみは10万円くらいするもんね。サトシ君はサトコちゃんの誕生日までにその額を稼ごうとしている。でもほら、考えてみて。それだけのお金があったら、後先を考えなくていいなら、どこか遠くへ逃げ出す十分な費用になりうるんだよ。
But Shion, I remember, was very adamant that he hadn't skipped town. Right? I feel like I remember this. That maybe I'm remembering wrong, but I'm pretty sure she was adamant that he hadn't skipped town.
サトシ君は無意識のうちにね、サトコちゃんを捨てて、どこか遠くへ逃げ出すお金に使ってしまいたいって、それはサトシ君にとってはこの上なく罪深いこと。でも、さっきみーちゃんが指摘したように、サトコちゃんの存在自体がサトシ君の負担になってるのは事実。サトシ君だってバカじゃないもん。兄として認めたくなかっただけで、サトコちゃんが負担になっていることには、ちゃんと気づいていた。だからサトシ君は葛藤してるんだよ。自分は妹を喜ばせるためのお金を貯めるためにバイトをしているつもり。だけれども、それは自分の心を騙しているだけで、本当は自分が逃げ出すためのお金を作るためにバイトしてるんじゃないかって。
But that's still like, I guess you're right, yeah. That's true. That is true. That is true. That's what it was.
逃げ出すべきじゃないと思う。逃げ出したって、サトシ君は多分一生後悔する。お社様だって、それを分かってるから、サトシ君にこうして警告してくれているの。サトシ君の心に、
No, I know
サ
they're
トコちゃん
different
を見捨
accounts,
てる
and
な
I'm
んて
sure,
悪
like,
魔の囁きが、
but what I'm thinking is that it's
早く
something
聞こえ
in
なくなるとい
the
いんだけど
future,
も。
right? So I'm thinking, like, this is obviously what Rena thinks, right? So we're guessing that something happens that makes Shion think otherwise, I'm guessing, or think different than this, because I'm assuming that she's probably going to run with this theory for a while, after, like, Rena told her all this, but then something's gonna make her change her mind. That's what I'm thinking.
サトシ君は、綿流しの数日後だっけの、サトコちゃんの誕生日にプレゼントを間に合わせるため、今、いろいろなアルバイトに精を出してる。心も体も追い詰めてる。そんな苦境が、きっとサトコちゃんの誕生日を境に終わるんだって、サトシ君は、今もお社様のたたりに苛まれている。
So, was Tomitake from Hinamizawa initially? I feel like I remember he's not initially from Hinamizawa, right?
サトコちゃんを守るか、見捨てるかの天秤の狭間に立たされながら
He
ね。
is not. Yeah, so I just don't... Like, the only thing is the storehouse. But whatever. Torrential rain didn't seem to want to stop. Kept pouring down on the galvanized iron roof, producing a loud noise. Yeah, in the shack it felt completely silent. What the hell was Rena talking about? I couldn't grasp even half of what she was saying. The only thing I had to figure out is that Satoshi-kun was struggling, confused, and in lots of pain. He's suffering from Oyashiro-sama's curse? And Rena has experienced that before? The Watanagashi festival was around the corner. Oyashiro-sama's curse had struck 3 years in a row. There was no guarantee that it wouldn't strike a 4th time. Satoshi-kun was subject to Oyashiro-sama's curse. Even now? Was he going to skip town? Was he going to be the next victim of Oyashiro-sama's curse? Either way, he might disappear forever. So I wonder if the footsteps and the bells are two different presences, or if they're the same one. Could I do something to prevent it? If I didn't do anything, it would all come to a hopeless end. And I started feeling a sense of dread. I didn't buy the crazy story Rena told me. But if something was really happening to Satoshi-kun, which might bring about some kind of an end, I couldn't help feeling scared. It's true, isn't it? My instinct is always correct. I decided to contact Mion despite the danger. Mion got upset at first, but she had to listen to me.
お姉、サトシ君のことだけど、どういうことになってるの？
最近、だいぶ険しい様子なんだよ。うかつに声もかけられない雰囲気。
何それ？声をかけられないから、サトシ君がどういう状況になってるかよくわかってないってこと？
ごめん。
お姉、キンキンにまた入れ替わる機会を設けてほしいの。
うん。それはもちろん構わないよ。でも最近はちょっと、綿流しのお祭りの打ち合わせの絡みで、日程の調整が難しいんだよ。何？またバイト？
私、ひなみ沢の学校へ行く。
Oh, it just stops there. We didn't get to hear what Mion, like, reacts with. She's just going to the school. Okay. Very, very interesting. Notebook to page 21 and 24. This is Shion's notebook we're going back to, I think. Why don't I relate my encounter with that creepy girl in the rain? Her name is Rena Ryugu. Her real first name is Reina. I have no idea what kind of girl she really is. One thing is certain, she has no relation to the Sonozaki family. She has no relation to the three families either. The Ryugu family used to live in Hinamizawa, but then they moved to Ibaraki. That was before she went to elementary school. They returned to Hinamizawa some years later. Rena Ryugu said she came back because Oyashiro-sama told her to. I don't know what that means. She said it was the curse of Oyashiro-sama. That Oyashiro-sama had stalked her. I think that was probably a hallucination, but Satoshi-kun had been interested in that experience. She said that Satoshi-kun was also experiencing Oyashiro-sama's curse. Satoshi-kun told her that he was being followed by some unknown existence. He was surprised to learn that Rena had the same experience before. What is Oyashiro-sama's curse? Why did Rena and Satoshi have a similar experience? There's still that thing in the... that I remember when they went into the ritual storehouse, Shion saw that, was like saying to Keiichi, look, there's something in that cage. But there was actually nothing in that cage as well. So, and she's hearing these bells and everything, so I wonder what that means. Why did Rena and Satoshi-kun have a similar experience? I believe that means somebody put them under surveillance. Somebody must be spying on the next victim of the curse. Since Rena and Satoshi both blindly believed in Oyashiro-sama's curse, they interpreted it as Oyashiro-sama's presence. If paranoia kicked in, they'd feel as if they were experiencing paranormal phenomena. Judging from what Rena said, it seemed that Satoshi-kun had been put on surveillance since long before Watanagashi. So, one question comes to mind. Why were they watching Rena? I'm assuming that this surveillance was placed on a victim to be of that year. Well, that's a... Wait, I'll wait till after. If so, I don't understand why Rena went through with it. Why did they watch her, even though she was living so far away? She was considered somebody who abandoned the village, I can understand. But she didn't fall victim in the end. Maybe she was forgiven because she came back to Hinamizawa. I guess she still knows something I don't. Okay. Would I ever go to Hinamizawa? Well, assuming the if you're talking about the fictional city Hinamizawa, knowing the information that I know about everything going on, probably not. But if I was a member of the public, with the amount of information with the news and everything, right, they hide a lot of the incidents going on. You probably would know about the first murder incident that happened, right, with the dam worker and all that. Actually, it depends. Because I would hear about the kidnapping and all that going on. Because maybe I would think the town is too heretical, and maybe they don't like outsiders. So if that's the case, then maybe not. But if they're trying to advertise tourism and get people to go over there, then maybe I would. Because I wouldn't know about a lot of the murders. But if you're talking about the IRL city that Hiramizawa is based off of, yeah, I would go to that. It seems fun. Satoshi-kun looked terrible. When he went home, he had to mediate a fight between Satoko. Who would you want to meet the most? Urana. Yeah, she seems cool. If I can meet Oyashiro-sama, I'll meet them. Thoughts? When he went home, why? Well, it'd be cool to meet a god, right? I just tried an instrumental and slime rancher of the Hood's anthem, and it's kind of a success. How'd it turn out? When he went home, he had to mediate a fight between Satoko and their aunt. He became mentally exhausted. He went to work every day. He became physically exhausted. He no longer communicated with his classmates. He either slept on his desk or was gone somewhere during lunch break. He used to be really gentle. It was painful to see him suffering like that. On top of that, he was dealing with the curse of Oyashiro-sama. He must have been completely, totally, and absolutely exhausted. Where'd you try your instrumental, Gubby? Curse was a form of surveillance by those planning to victimize Satoshi-kun that year. Oh, I just remembered, Dianea. I did play another visual novel. I did play one more visual novel. I've been waiting for the sequel of it, but it has not come out. What? It's called Valhalla, but it's spelt really weirdly. It's like VA11 Hall-A. That's what how it's spelled. It came out kind of good. That's good. It's like a visual novel set in like a cyberpunk future type thing, and your goal is like you're a bartender and you serve drinks to people. And that's like how it's like. It was fun, but I remember I got the bad ending for it because I didn't have enough money. Because I didn't realize it was waiting for one. Like, I spent all my money on everything. You want to know what I meant? Sure, yeah. The curse was a form of surveillance by those planning to victimize Satoshi-kun that year. But yeah, you needed to have enough money to, like, you know, get an ending. And I ended up getting the bad ending because I didn't realize there's one more week. So I just spent all my money and I didn't realize I had to save more money for my rent the next week. And it was just, I just got the bad ending. Which really sucked. So, and I got mad. I should play it again on stream, I think, at some point, to try and get a good ending. Secret to the O by King Von. It's a national Hood's anthem. Fair. I mean, I know King Von is a, you know, well-known, like, classic rapper, I guess. Curse was a form of surveillance by those planning to victimize Satoshi-kun this year. That means that the other victim was in the same situation. Satoshi-kun's aunt had also been watched. Did she notice any presence? What about the others? The victims of the previous incidents also experienced it. I need to investigate the facts in order to prove the curse on Satoshi-kun was actually just surveillance. Is it surveillance? Paranoia? Or really the curse? Well, I think it had a good story. But the interesting about that is depending on, like, it was really cool because depending on the drinks you serve people, you get different, like, responses from people. And you can, like, you can either have, like, a lot of people's storyline unlocked, or it's like, you know, you don't see anything. But a visual novel with gameplay would mean there's an emphasis on story. Did you... Yes? I think? Oh, wait, whatever. Delete. I don't know why I never pressed that delete button. But yeah, okay. Yes, it is an emphasis on story. There is, like, as I said, there is some gameplay, but, like, it's mainly just sitting there reading, which is fun, because I really like the aesthetic. If you're, like, a fan of cyberpunk stuff, like, not cyberpunk, like, I guess, yes, cyberpunk, because cyberpunk, we mean, like, you know, usually people nowadays mean like actual Cyberpunk 2077 like aesthetic, but like no, like actually Cyberpunk dystopia. It's a very nice aesthetic. Sure, yeah. If you wish to, Gubby. A visual novel with some gameplays and emphasis story, which I like. Yes, okay. I like the art style. It's a very cool art style. I enjoyed it a lot. I really like the aesthetic. How, by the way? Oh, I'll just look it up, whatever. It's just to like looking for a few seconds. I'll just search it up. What is it called? O King Von. Wait, why is this the Hood anthem? Also, I don't mind visual novels with no gameplay either. Is cool. Yeah, fair. Yeah, well, that was the end of Higurashi today. We got through 2. It's starting to seem they have like longer segments, so we'll see, you know, how long I still have to keep up 2 segments. But yeah, basically because it's noticed naturally as the anthem. Fair. You know, I can't say anything. If that's the case, then that's the case. Already on, yeah, chapter 4. Pretty good. I'm happy. So we're learning more about Satoshi and Shion's relationship and really what's going on. So, because people were saying it's like, oh, they were dating before. So I wonder if it does actually happen, or just somehow people find out that Shion liked him and people were just saying it. But I don't know. I don't know if they actually do end up dating or not. Because it seems like since the Watsunagashi is in a few days, right? Doesn't seem like they have a chance to have a relationship. Okay, yeah, I'll check out your stream for a bit, Gubby, beforehand. But yeah, that'll be it from me for today. Thank you for everyone who stopped by the stream. I appreciate it. And I'll be back